Yo, yo, welcome back. Friends on the Rampage. That's us. You already know who it is. It's Holland, aka Howie Felt a Snatch. Or you can call me Zeno120. I got my boy Leo in here.
Yo,
And then I got my guy Denzel in here.
What's good?
You know, we like to have special guests sometimes now and then. Um so yeah, today, this week, we talking about jobs and careers. So, Leo,
yep.
what's your experience on the whole job market and advancing in your careers and different things of that nature?
It's been very difficult. I think ever since I've graduated, I've just constantly just been like applying, waiting, and eventually, if you're lucky, one of the companies will just say flat out, "Hey, we're glad you participated, but we're not looking at you."
Mm,
And at least you know what, you can't be mad because at least they replied back.
yeah,
That's facts. Instead of leaving you just
big
in
facts.
the dust.
Yeah.
Have you got any interviews or anything?
I did one phone interview. I took like I guess a test, like just like basically a standardized test like something you would take in high school, like basic math and language arts. I guess I scored low because again, it's been years since I've done basic math and language arts that wasn't involving
Mm.
coding or involving autocorrect. Which I will say, autocorrect really does fuck you over because it's like you could just misspell a word and you're just like, oh yeah, autocorrect will just fix it for me.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I've been applying to so it's weird, right? So I've been applying to jobs and like the one the one was on me. They sent me an email saying I had to do some extra stuff. I got the email late, but I still had time. But like at the time, I was doing some like stuff that like my personal life. But
Hmm.
that don't matter. I had time to do it and I just didn't. So that was on me. But like as far as all these other like applying to jobs and stuff goes, um it's actually been it's kind of been here or there. Like I've had a few interviews and they weren't bad, but I'm sure they were looking for somebody who had more experience in cuz okay, so everything's moving to technology, right? That everything's
Yeah.
become more technologically
Yeah,
advanced and compatible and different things of that nature. So being a computer studies major or information systems, depending on what you want to say, um you would think it'd be a lot easier just to get in where you fit in. But
mm.
they have it. I've known like from like the last year or so, I learned that one of the best things you can do if you don't already like say you're not in school and you're already like working in IT or like doing some type of program or anything of that nature, then you need to get some certificates like the CompTIA, A plus, C
Yeah.
plus plus. Those help a lot because a lot of jobs nowadays are dang near requiring it. If like before it was like it's like a preference. Okay, if you have it then it helps, but like it's not something that we require you to have things of that nature. But now it's from what I've seen, it's almost like a requirement. So that is definitely something that just I've noticed over the last couple of months that I've been applying. So I actually been working on getting my certificates. Um but yeah, if you
Yeah.
don't have like they expect years of experience. Like 5 or 6. It's like wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That's that just gets me. That's what I get mad about because they'll be like, all right, you need like 6 years experience to 4 years, and it's like, isn't this entry level? Like, who the hell starts off like just has like that experience right off the bat?
Yeah, no, I was just talking with Leo earlier. I'm like, look, man, I feel like it's the dumbest thing in the world that you can go to a 4-year college, graduate, and they didn't, have you on the path to get any certifications or anything that you would need in your field. It's like, at least in one or two of the classes that you take that are dealing with IT or coding, a goal at the end of the class should be to be able to get your certificate. There should be a program in that school that allows you to get it because they know you're going to need it eventually. What's the point of teaching me all this stuff? I get my degree, but you know that my degree isn't going to be enough to get the job, and I'm going to need the certificates anyway. It's kind of stupid to me.
Yeah.
That's actually a fair point. I never actually thought about that. They should even if you have to like do a class and it's just like, oh, this is what you're going to need to do. If you don't full blown get it, they should at least give you somewhere like, yo, if you want to take this extra class, it'll just be like the class to get the network, like the Cisco networking certificate or something like that. That's just what that's actually a pretty good idea. I never thought about that. I mean, they kind of have something like that I feel like in high school they have better opportunities than in college, but that's just my thing. But Denzel, since you established, man, tell me about your whole path as far as getting your
They wrote
career.
an article on you.
Well, you the man over here.
Established is a big step that I wouldn't say, but I would say my whole like tangent of my life right now was all by you know what I mean? Like it wasn't even like I had planned any of this out. I didn't know I was even gonna be out here. Like, it really came down to me being in college still, and they like this internship opportunity came up, and I was like, man, I really want to do that, but that was sophomore year. I'm like, bro, I can't do that. That's for smart people. I'm average. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah, I feel you. Got it. I feel you on
I
that.
was like, they gonna send me to DC? Get the fuck out of here! Like, so that was my mentality sophomore year. But my career path was I was working at UPS. Like, you know how that is, Holland.
Oh goodness.
And yeah, that's an absolute travesty. I'm sorry. I hope you get out of there and find something way better, man. But yeah, no, I was there, and like, I took a semester off of school and worked there full time and saw those people, and every day I went in and hated my life a little bit more every single day. And I was like, you know what? It's time for me to quit this job. I told them I'm out. I left. I'll never forget. It was 2017 because it was like the last day of 2017. I never worked in 2018. Put in my 2 weeks. They didn't even care about my 2 weeks. It was like, man, just get them on payroll before the next year. We don't want them on payroll next year. I'm like, man.
Damn.
I'm like, fuck. I'm walking out. Fuck all of y'all. It's middle fingers up everywhere, bro. I'm like, man, goddamn assholes, man. And like, that's when I just decided, like, a job. I'm not gonna let a job define me. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like, I feel like a lot of people get attached to a job and not a career, and it's like, nah, that ain't it, Chief. It's too many people I saw at UPS. I was like, yeah, I came here when I was 18.
Oh,
That was 20 years ago. And I'm like, oh, hell no. You got me fucked up. It's not going to be me. Nah. So,
Scary,
I mean,
man.
yeah, like, so when I got that mentality, when I went back to school the next semester, I was like, fuck it. Even if I'm stupid, even if my GPA isn't high enough for this internship, I'm still going to try.
Uh-huh.
And like, it ended up working out because I had a good relationship with my professor and he put a good word in for me. And, like when going into the internship, because I think that, even though we're older now, I think that there are still internships that people could do that would actually help them set them up for better places. Going into my internship, it was like, that was my real experience in the real workforce. You know what I mean? Like, and I had to go through it. Let me talk about the like process I went through, because this is probably going to be very similar to how it's going to be for everybody, like during COVID, right?
Yep.
All of it was online, right? I had 2 video interviews and a phone interview, right? And like I I like to say that I was kind of prepared, but at the same time, I was winging that shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel
I guess I'm here.
yeah, like I feel like for one of my video interviews, I don't even think I had pants on, no cap. But
you gotta be comfortable. I don't know what to say. You gotta be comfortable. It is what it is.
Like no, like they only see you from the torso up, so it wouldn't even matter. But yeah,
a dress shirt, that nice tie, a clean haircut, and then you're in your whitey tighties.
I swear to God, bro, you just don't stand up. You stand up, you fucked up. Like, that's what it comes down to. But yeah, man, I just like when I was doing it, like you just gotta be. It sounds so stupid to say, but you just gotta be confident in like what you're saying, right? Like, because at the end of the day, like what these people are looking for is somebody that can sell themselves.
Yep.
It's not even so much about what you can do; it's about being open to doing more. Because people, I've noticed that the way things go out here and the way people hire, they're a lot more interested in somebody that is willing to grow and learn as much as they can than somebody who's a know-it-all about one thing and is stuck on that. You know what I mean? So
spitting.
going into
spitting.
going into it, I was just like, what if I didn't know the answer to the question, I was like, well, I know about this and I know about this and I'm willing to learn more about that kind of mentality, right?
Yep. So
obviously, and I thought I was fucking up. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was I was in the interview like, man, I'm scared as hell, bro. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, this was the scariest shit I ever saw in my life, and this can happen to people. There was a panel interview online. I was in there. It was like 7 people. It was like 7 people all interviewing me at the same time, bro. I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious, bro? I was so scared. I was sitting in my office in my house. I'm like, gee. And like this is one thing that I'll say is helpful, but you just gotta be smart about it. Like asking them questions when they're done asking you questions can be a good thing, right? Some people are scared to do that. But like, I'll never forget. Like, it was like the head honcho. I don't remember what I asked them, but like after they were done asking questions, like, you have any questions for us? And like a lot of people, I feel like they're scared and they're like, I don't want to ask anything. Like, just be like, no, that's okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, I don't remember what I asked them, but I asked them a question. And like, I kind of left it open for everybody, and then like they went by one answering the question to me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so like that was a super eye-opening, experience, because later I found out that they really did appreciate that, and like even though I felt like I was fucking up because I'm like, gee, am I giving them an interview? What am I doing? But like they appreciated it because I was like, I guess that shows like engagement, in addition to like the questions they were asking. And I think we can talk about like questions that they usually ask during that kind of stuff later. But
no, yeah, wait, just real quick. I'm glad you brought up the fact you asked them a question, because a lot of times people don't realize not only are they interviewing you, you're interviewing them and thus the company to make sure that you're a good fit for them. You know what I'm saying? So so when people like are scared to ask questions, it's almost like they're just taking what they're given, and that's not always good, because what if they lowball you? What if you ask a question, you get there and you didn't realize you were getting yourself into something that you could have figured out before you started? You know what I'm saying?
I always try to ask them like, what's the daily life of like this position? I'm like, if I were to work here, what am I going to expect? That's how usually I ask them.
Oh yeah, because now you
that's a good one.
The day-to-day operations, it can change, because especially like depending on like if you're a data entry or something like that, you're probably going to be doing much of the not that I have experience, but that's just like what I believe, right? I don't know. I haven't asked the question, right? But like if you're doing, say for instance, IT, every day can be different. One day the whole network can be down. Another day, all you have to do is update a driver. Like you never know exactly what's going on until you ask the questions. That's just my opinion, but
Yeah, that's very true.
But yeah, then yeah. My bad. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. That was a good point. I was just gonna say, my internship experience. And I think their internships. I think that an internship like the one that I did should be mandatory for all like college students in general. Anyway, like I feel like that should just be a part of all programs because being in an internship while you're getting credits for school and actually in the workforce is the most valuable experience I ever got from college. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yep.
Because being in that office and seeing how crazy shit was and like having to adapt and having to do different things and play, put on a bunch of different hats, it was insane to the point that I was like, man, I don't really think I want to do this shit. But like it ended up coming back full circle because I got used to it over the span of my internship. And I'm an introvert, but I was trying my best to like still talk to different people as much as I could within my my limited bubble of like interactivity.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's always, you don't need to be everybody's friend, right? And this can go for anything. You don't need to be everybody at your job's friend, but you do need to be open to new relationships, and you need to at least reach out to the people that you directly work with, right?
Facts.
So I had a really good relationship with my direct supervisor. We went out to lunch at least one time. I talked to her about different stuff that was going on. I had a good relationship with the people that sat around me. I spoke every day that I came in. I tried, like, I may not go up to every person and say hello, but I walk in and be like, how's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing this morning? And just kind of announce yourself, let them know that you're there. Because I've seen from like since I've been there, I've seen interns come in and they're just like, just sit down. You know what I mean? Like they don't say anything to anybody. They just sit down and start, doing whatever they're gonna do.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, say something.
You let them know you there.
And yeah, exactly. Because if you don't let them know you're there, they're not gonna know. Like, people legitimately was like, "Is the intern in today?" And then you look over there, and you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like, so that's like cap to me. But yeah, that in addition to like finding work for yourself, right? Like, if you see something you want to do, you have to reach out to that person that's doing that job and say, I'm interested in that. Like, they could be a writer, or they could be a videographer, or they could be like a social media manager, or they could be the press secretary, or they could be the IT guy. You know what I mean? Like, whoever has the job that you want to get, like, they're most likely going to want to help you. You know what I mean? A lot of people think like, oh, well, they're not going to tell me because, they don't want me to take their job.
Yep.
I mean, most likely you're not taking their job, or you're not from an intern. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, from an intern, you're not taking anybody's job. But that's why I think that's a very valuable experience. And the last thing I'm gonna say for this is just like the next step was actually reaching out to kind of how I reached out. So a lot of different places like school, internships, even in the real world, like, you'll meet people that'll give you a rundown on who they are. They'll give you their elevator pitch, not because they want you to do anything for them, but because they can do something for you, right?
Naturally.
And in my internship, they basically had people come through like from all different government agencies and tell us about their agencies, tell us about themselves, how they got to where they were and stuff like that, right? And it took me a while to realize it, and I was a little bit shy about it at first, but I made a realization that they're putting these people there in front of you, or like your school is putting these people in front of you, or life is putting these people in front of you because you're supposed to reach out to them.
Yep.
Right? And when I finally decided, and I almost didn't, seriously. Like, it's a really funny story about how it happened, but I almost didn't reach out, but I decided to reach out, right? I was like, can we set up a lunch, And we tried to go out to lunch the first time, and this was a director of an agency, right? So they're busy, right? So I tried to set up lunch one time. It fell through because he had a doctor's appointment. I tried to set up lunch again, and it fell through for a reason that I don't exactly recall, right? The third time we set up lunch, everything was good, but there was this place called Bus Boys and Poets in Washington D.C. I had no idea, I hadn't been out here that long, but I was like, okay. So I looked it up on Google Maps, went to it, and I'm there, right? So I get there, and he calls me. He's like, "Yeah, where are you at?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in the front. I don't see you." He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm in the front too." And I was like, "Oh shit!" It clicked in my head like, there's probably more than one Bus Boys and Poets in DC.
Naturally. Nah, dang. Well.
So I told him, I'm like, hey, look, I went to the wrong location. I am on my way right now. So like he was like, don't even worry about it. It'll be okay. So I'm rushing. I'm like, I had to get my Uber. I'm rushing there. I'm like, oh, hurry up. So I finally get to the office because he has to go to a meeting. So I'm sitting in the front room, and I'm talking to the receptionist, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he went to the back. He'll be over here." And I just talked with the receptionist, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well I think you'll be good. He's a really good guy, and from what I've seen, he thinks you're a good guy as well. So we actually end up going to the lunch, and we talk. He paid for it. I was a starving motherfucking intern, so he like
naturally.
I think that's pretty normal in the business world. Like I've noticed, but yeah. So it was really good food, and I was trying to be as neat as I could eating my shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, we had a really good conversation, and he asked me. It was almost like an informal interview, right?
Right.
He asked me about myself, where I came from, my family, and stuff like that. And I asked him the same questions in return. And finally, he brought up the fact that there was a opening at the agency.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what's up.
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, I would like you to interview for it." And I was like, "Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm down." And and that's what really set me up for everything else that happened, right? That moment right there, that moment in time is the exact moment that my entire life shifted from, just being a college student in Chicago that didn't really have a plan to being out here and, being, as you guys would say, established. I still think I got a lot to do.
Hey, as established as I'm concerned, you about as good as, you know what I'm saying? I think you could. I know you can improve. Everybody can improve, of course, but hey, I'm proud of you. I don't know if anybody told you that, but I am personally.
I am mad jealous.
Hey, I guarantee you the amount of stress that I go through on a weekly basis is nothing to be jealous of. I guarantee that much.
No, I hear you when we play games online.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's why I say that to say, because I think that's the most important thing, right? If you see somebody that you feel as though can, do something for you, you can't be afraid to reach out to them. And my own fear and inhibitions almost stopped me from doing it, because I had to go back home before I had that third meeting. I had to go back home so that I could graduate, right? Because, graduation was happening.
Yep.
And in my head, I even had a conversation with my mom. I'm like, "Mom, I don't think I want to come back after this. Like, I'm going to go home and graduate and come back out here for 2 weeks. Like, that's a waste of money on a ticket. I gotta get a ticket to come out here for 2 weeks just to go back home afterwards."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I'm homesick. You know what I mean? And my mom told me, she was like, "Look, I think you should just go ahead and finish it out. You've already been there all this time, so you might as well see these last 2 weeks through to completion." and just let me know what you decide to do.
Moms with the
And
W.
I slept on it. Yeah, man, I slept on it for a while, and I was like, you know what, man, I'll just come back. Fuck it. All my friends are gonna be gone, but they said that I could keep my apartment for the 2 weeks or whatever, so I don't have to worry about a place to stay. I'll have an entire apartment to myself. It'll be cool, right? And that was one of the biggest decisions I made, because if I had of like just falling victim to my fears and just wanting to be back home with my friends, then I would have just stayed in Chicago and never came back for those 2 weeks, and I would have never got that third meeting, and I would have never met that director and jump started my career. So like that's my story. That's like the basics of it. But I really do believe that like the most important thing you can do is just reach out to people that you think can help you, because you never know what can actually come from it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's what, like, see, I ain't never heard the story in full, so that's some of that stuff was new to me. But that's what's up though, and you bring up a lot of good points. Like I know from like a lot of people like, oh, I'm introverted and it's like hard for me to talk to people and things of that nature. But like you stepped out of your comfort zone. It was 2 times. He's like, okay, we didn't make it the first time, we didn't make it the second time, third time you almost didn't make it, and you still went. And you made sure that you put in the effort, because you got to put in the effort if you want something. You want it, you got to go get it. And and you definitely you seen the fruits of your labor essentially. So, I appreciate that story. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
I appreciate getting to tell it, man.
on me. But like, just, I know, like you said, like we were telling how some of the interns come in, probably put his head down, walk straight to their desks, just start doing whatever work. I think that a lot of the newer generation, because I know a lot of people who in like HR, and like a lot of the problems that we have is not the ability to do the work, but it's the communication.
Yeah, communication is big. I'd say communication is the most important thing, because bad communication can topple an entire company or an entire organization like nothing else can. Like, it's crazy. I've seen some stupid stuff, man, off that.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Like, I just because, of course you can, like I said, you can do the job. Okay, you can put in the code, or you can, like put in the numbers, But if you were to be working with a client, because not most positions you're going to be working with customers, right? If you can't, like if I learned anything, like if I learned anything from my dad, I learned that you should be able to explain it, because he used to be like, okay, well, what does this mean? Because he older dude, so he don't know how to use a computer and stuff. So like I was explaining it to him, and I'm like, oh yeah, this, and I was just saying it like I knew what he was talking about, and he kind of like, and he was like, oh well, say it to me as if I was like a child, like I was 7 years old, and then I'd be like, well, why would I do that? Like we both know what's going on here. But like I realized, like in retrospect, that actually makes a lot of sense, because now it's like if I'm talking to like a customer, maybe just as old as he is, who may not understand these terms or have experience in these like the field that I'm in, because like I know the technical terms and I might know the basic technical terms, but they might not know anything.
Yeah, you basically just have to, like, in a weird way, dumb it down or like oversimplify it to the point where it's like, all right, I feel like what I'm saying to you, it's getting to your head, and if it's not, I'll try to simplify it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta say it to where they can understand it, and like I said, it's just that that's just what I know as far as like HR goes, is that they can do the work but they can't communicate it, and I think that's one of the biggest problems we have. And I mean, I don't want to pin it on anything, but I do think we need to have people, like you say, in an internship. I think that is like the perfect experience, because yeah, you're still in school, you still learning, but now you're in the environment, you're in this fast-paced environment, or whatever, and you're like in the real world.
Exactly.
Because
Like that's yeah. Go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
about to say school is like, okay, in so many words, school is like a simulation. But like to be put,
Mhm.
like if they said go, like how would how do you react to that? Like if you been in
Yeah.
school but you haven't had like the real world experience, once you get out of school and they say go, you're like you're held to a higher standard because you're like it's not like you're an intern, like you're hired for this job.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
them, like you say, being in school and in the environment where they're literally giving you the resources. They're like, yo, you want to do this internship? Yeah, you may have to like apply for it, or like networking, which is big as well.
Hmm.
But you have to, once you get your foot in the door, you have to open it and you got to walk through. So them putting
Yeah.
the directors and all them, oh, he's from the accounting department. Oh, don't you want to do accounting intern, such and such. They put all these people in your face. How do you utilize these resources? Because essentially that's what you're gonna have to do once you get there anyway.
No, and just to add on to that, in my entire intern class, right, it was probably about 8 or 9 of us, right? Only 3 of us ended up actually getting jobs after the end of the internships. And a lot of that came down to them not realizing, what was being put in front of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of them didn't realize, okay, I need to reach out to one of these directors or I need to reach out to this person. Some of the interns were coming in and they were like, man, there's nothing to do. I'm bored. They weren't trying to get more opportunities for themselves. They weren't really reaching out and like they basically wasted the experience in a sense. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because honestly, most of the time, and this is what I've heard from, the people that actually run the internship programs and stuff like that. Most of the times, these internship programs are supposed to lead you into a position, right?
Yep.
They're looking for people that are a good fit for the company that will, thrive in the environment. And, if you don't, leave everything on the table, then they'll never pick you. You know what I mean? Or they'll never even know that you were interested if you don't tell them. That's another big thing. If you do go to an internship or an assistantship or whatever, you got to let the people you work with know, like, I want a job. Like, I want to be here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You got to tell them and you got to show them. You got to do both.
The goal is to jumpstart your career. That's what the internship is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I just asking questions wonders can do wonders. And I'm not saying play dumb, but play dumb. Like like, oh hey, what are you over there doing? Like, even if it's not even in your field, you could be trying to do some IT and then go to the accountant and be like, oh, how does your job function? Like, you know what I'm saying? How does your day-to-day base go? Like, just talking to people, like, it ain't gotta always be about business as well. I mean, it could just be casual conversation, and they might just throw some information in there just cause.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think communication is big. That's one of the biggest things we lack as a newer generation, which is why, because even for myself, I used to consider myself introverted, but I realized I'm not. I have introverted ways, but like honestly, I do enjoy like talking to people and being around people. Like I am a social butterfly. I just was holding myself back.
You're an antisocial. I mean, you're an antisocial extrovert.
I don't know. I don't mind being by myself, but I think that's just 'cause I've become accustomed to it. But like, put me in a situation where I need to talk, and I've gotten so much better about that. So I think that's one of my, because that's dating one of my selling points now. They're like, oh well, why do you want this job? I'm like, you look, I know that this newer generation don't have the ability to communicate, such as blah blah blah, and I'm here to bridge that gap. Like, I can communicate and do the work. I can walk the walk and talk the talk. You know what I'm saying? Give me the chance to show you what I can do. But
yeah.
I also just want to talk about how like do you either one of you can answer. Do you see the difference in like a job versus a career?
Yeah. Definitely.
Actually, yeah, I can see that because working from Target and then at the school, I always treated them as it's a job. I didn't really see a career in any of it because in Target, I really didn't see a career in it. I did not want to be like, yeah, I want to be here and try to get that manager position. I was just like, I want to do something with computer science. This is what I'm working towards.
Mm-hmm.
And IT, I was just like, you know what? This is way better working here than at Target. And I doing this job, doing this stuff work at school, I was just like, you know what? I might see myself in a career in this because it's not that bad.
Right. Versus.
So I would say I do think that there's a big difference, right? But I do think that there is a possibility for a job to transform into a career depending on the availability of upward mobility. So, like, despite how much I hated UPS, there was then there you could turn that job into a career, right? If you want to. If that's something that you enjoy to do, there is enough upwards mobility that you could go from being a worker to being a supervisor to being a full-time supervisor to being a manager to being, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what a career is. Anything that you can, move up in my definition of it. But you just have to find something that you want, to be good at. Like that's what I feel like the big differentiating factor is between a job and career. A job is just something you're going to get money. A career is you doing something you love, but you get money for doing it. I feel like that's what the difference is.
That's fair. I actually do agree. As far as like a job, I feel like you're there in that time, but a career is something. Like a career is like when they say chess, not checkers. Like a career is like, okay, I'm here, but like in the next month or so, I'm going to be trying to go for this position. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be trying to get promoted. I'm going to do this amount of work. I know, you know what I'm saying? So I do agree with that. Like the whole career aspect is more of a, it's a path. Like it's actually something that you can build off of and make into something versus just there for the money. Because I mean personally, like I've never been for like money. Like I understand money. We use money for like purchasing things. Yeah, right. So it's just you have to live on money. But like as far as I'm concerned, my whole idea, as far as where my career is going to go, is that the money. I'll put it in video game terms, right? We all play video games. So the main game, you enjoy the main game. But like the DLC is the money. Like the money comes, but you still able to perform and be able to play the main game and still be satisfied. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. You buy DLC, but you don't buy nothing.
I get what you're saying.
So yeah, that's where I normally come from as far as a job versus a career. Because like you said, you at UPS you can make that into a career. That's if you want to do it. Because I know plenty of people. I mean, yeah, they've been there 20, 25 years, but that's what they've wanted to do. That's how they saw this. They said, okay, well, I'm okay with this position, so I will work with it. I know different jobs and careers do have have different benefits as well. So, for example, like health, like the insurance is a big thing. Like tuition reimbursement, I know some jobs have that. So I also think you have to consider that as well as the pay. Because let's just be honest, we all have bachelor's degrees, we all have graduated, but I've seen my fair share of entry level positions where it's like, oh, well, you need 10 years worth of, IT networking and, software development, like programming. And then it's like $10 an hour.
Yeah, no, that's literally them spitting on you, bro. Like, that's just disrespectful. Like, oh, so I spent like, tens of thousands of dollars to get a degree for you to tell me, yeah, I give you $10 an hour. No, fuck you. Like, who the fuck I could get $10 an hour working at McDonald's, but then they'll say, McDonald's isn't a career. This is going to be better for you. You know, you got to start off with the $10 an hour, but we're also making it hard as shit for you to start off because you need all of this. Like, it's just so bullshit, dude.
And exactly, and that's where the whole idea behind when you're in the interview, you have to ask questions. You just have to.
The greatest spit in my face was, I think it was sophomore year. I went to one of the job hunts, and I remember I was like, oh, like I'm a computer science major, and they're like, oh, all right, you can manage our Twitter, and me and one dude just looked at each other and we're just like, are you serious right now? Like you could just hire some random girl in high school and she'll just manage your Twitter for you.
Look. Hey, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you dead in your tracks. All right. So, social media management is an actual
Career.
job. It is an actual career. It leads into other things. It's not easy. It's not easy by any sense of the word. All right. So if a business asks you to do that, there is this stigma that millennials are good with social media. So that's why, you know, you see so many millennials doing that job, because that's a big function of my job as well. So when you get opportunities like that, you can't just shut it down, because for one, if you get in like doing that, even if you don't like it, you're in the company, right? And that's a big thing, is getting your foot in the door. Then you can move laterally, you can move vertically, you can figure different stuff out. But don't look down on a job like that, because at the end of the day, social media managers make a decent amount of money. Like, I think it's anywhere between $40,000 and like $60,000 for managing social media, depending on where you go. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you go to a smaller business, you'll get a smaller amount. But people have entire careers based on that nowadays. It's no longer just, you know, oh, well, you can just get your niece to take care of the company's social media. No, they have entire marketing teams dedicated to doing it.
I saw that as a spin on my face. I'm like, wow, I'm a computer scientist. I make applications and like debug shit, and you want me just to like go on your Twitter and just say like happy things about it. I didn't know that there was a career, and that I just like saw that as a spit in the face of like, wow.
No, seriously, like that was an actual opportunity. And like, just to hold on, let me just double check. You can continue while I double check something.
No, I was just really surprised, and then I think, I remember just realizing like, wow, like all this time, like I remember going up to people during that job hunt, and the school's always like, oh yeah, you can compete. They're always looking for computer scientists, and I go there and I mention it, and it's like, oh, we're actually looking for nursing, business. It's like, all right, I'm asking everyone here if they have anything like related to computer science. The majority of stuff as I get is like, oh, we get our IT or somebody from like an outsource. And it's like, okay. And I'm like, so why does the school keep promoting us to go when it always seems like no one's ever really looking for something like that?
So go ahead, Alan.
I was gonna say, I know later, as far as the job fairs go, at that school, I know later on they did have job fairs, but they did have more people looking for IT. For example, I talked to like a woman who was in like the FBI, and she was saying like, oh yeah, we have a lot of those. We have careers in that where they have people. So yeah, they have people, you know, on the computer like debugging and coding and like cybersecurity. I know cybersecurity is a big thing. So like they had like that, but what she was saying was, oh, you want to get paid extra? How athletic are you? If you could pass the physical test, you can do that in field and get paid more. So it, and as far as like computer science and computer based fields go, I know that no matter where you go, especially now, they're always going to need somebody. They're going to need somebody who knows how to like operate a computer, like whether it be networking, cybersecurity, coding. So I would say, while you were there, you should have. I don't know if how many people you like talk to or different things of that nature, but you definitely should just ask, because you never know what they might be offering that's not on the pamphlet, or something they might not even be advertisement. And it could be like, oh, this is like for nurses, but like nurses use computers. Like they use, oh, how do you patient information? Oh, you know, they use all that, like all that's electronic. So I would just say always keep your like an open mind. So like you were saying, oh, like he was saying, like, oh, it's a social media, why would I just want to use the Twitter? But like, if like, then you brought a different perspective where it's just like, no, like that's an actual career, like that's a thing that they use, and you can go far with that. So I would say just keep an open mind when it comes to just anything. When they offer you something, just like, hey, even if you think it's not a good thing, either do some research or just get their information anyway. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Because and I agree with everything you were saying. But it's about, getting the foot in the door. It's like, I don't know what's a good IT company, right? But if the IT company you want to work for offered you a job as just because we were talking about it earlier, a social media manager, right? You're not going to turn that job down just because it's not the position you want. You're going to take it because it's the company that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's a company that you wouldn't mind working for, because you, at the end of the day, if you do a good job there and you tell them, all right, I want to move on to this, then the people there that you have worked with are going to, help you and want you to be able to thrive in a position that you want to be in. And just for because I wanted to double check this, according to ZipRecruiter, a social media marketing manager makes anywhere from $27,000 to $61,000 on average per year. And so that was just me
Even
just so you could see,
right?
And even so, there's a different title of social media specialist that can make from $39,000 to $71,000 a year. You know what I mean? And it goes on up and up the more experience you have in it. And that's the one I've noticed, that's one thing that millennials can say they have all the experience in.
Facts!
Because you've had experience with it since the shit came out. So they talking about, oh, we need 7 years experience. Bitch, I got 20. That's good. You know what I mean?
Facts.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that no matter how long they say the experience for, you can say you got it and you will not be lying. And
that's facts.
I think that's the funniest shit. But you know what I mean? If it's not something you want to do, don't do it. But it's an option and it can open doors for you, right? Because of course it's attached to my current position, but what I really enjoy doing is making videos and going out and filming in the field and stuff like that. That's what I enjoy. It just happens to be an extension of my job right now, right? But you also have to realize that doing stuff with social media is very technical in terms of computers, right? So if you can figure out how to code a program that's gonna automatically, remind you of certain stuff, or set up stuff for you, or whatever. I don't know what would be a good example. But if you can do that and you can show them that and you can prove to them that you're fluent in that, then that makes it even easier for you to get what you want. And last thing is I really think I'm going to echo what Holland was saying about keeping an open mind, but you really have to look at the organization and not the job in particular, because if it's an organization that you want to be affiliated with, it's more important than the job they give you at the beginning, because just because the entry level job that you want isn't available, it doesn't mean that there is an entry level job that can't lead into what you want to do.
Ooh, preach.
Yeah.
Preach. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, you right though. Hold on, wait. We do got 20 years of experience on social media. Hold on. Nah, you right though. They cannot knock you for that one. I got 30 years of coding. I have 20 years of Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah. So I'm yeah, I was pretty young when YouTube came out, but I was on that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
I know how to
yeah,
upload,
like
edit.
it's crazy because, bro, people don't know how to do basic stuff. People don't know how to upload videos to YouTube. People don't know how to upload videos to Twitter, to Facebook. People don't know how to post. People don't know how to, like, set up accounts. These are very basic things that people get paid for. There are marketing, like, because social media is basically marketing.
Yep.
Right now,
Mhm.
social media is arguably just as, if not more important than radio and TV.
Yep.
So that's the thing you have to think about, because these people are taking over in that regard, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. There are marketing agencies that have big focuses in social media that they don't even put anything on TV. All they do is make graphics, they make videos, and they manage social media, and they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars to their clients, depending on how big they are.
Dang.
This is a legitimate business that can make you a lot of money based on your skill set, and almost any skill set can fit into it. Because if you work your way into a marketing agency, like doing basic stuff or whatever, right? So let's say that they want to branch out into offering basic programs to their clients. Oh, well, I can make those programs. They're going to be like, okay, well, you can lead this project. You succeed in that project. Now you're invaluable to them, because you already know how they're. Oh, that's one thing I want to talk about too. Culture. You know their culture, their office culture. You know that already. You know how they work. You know how their business plan works. You know how their business model works. And now you can create a new product for them that they can make more money off of, right? And that's a big thing. You have to be able to market what you know. You have to be able to market what you know to people that don't even know they need it yet,
Ooh.
right? Because when I first came on to my current position, like, they were doing videos, but like when I started my original position, right?
Yep.
The guy that I got my original job from, they were doing videos, but they weren't doing shit like what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Upgraded. Came in and man.
They weren't doing anything. Yeah, they weren't doing anything on the level of what I brought to them. They weren't able to do anything on the level of social media. Right after I came, the first year I was there, we had what was called it was my first big campaign, and it was for My Brother's Keeper, right? And we had about 5 different videos. We had a video with the police chief, we had a video with the fire chief, we had a video with a local celebrity, we had a video with other people, we had a video shot with the entire office all together marketing it. We had, so much came together for that it was the biggest one they'd ever had in the entire time that they've been doing that event, based on how much effort I was able to put in and my boss was able to put in to creating that campaign. And that was something that nobody can take away from you, because once you make something tangible that has worked, no matter what people say, it already happened. It's factually there. Anybody can find it, and you can back it up. So, like, that's the same thing to a program. You know what I mean? Like, it's just about being able to, take what you have and, like, fit it in a new way.
Watermark it. That's how you do it. No, that's man. That's what's up.
Real.
That's what's up. Hey, look, it's what it says. It's not about what the company can do for you, but what you can do for the company. There you go. But that's the fruits of your labor, though. Like, you do all that, and at the end of the day, that's you. They can't take away your accomplishments. Anybody can take away the money, but like at the end of the day, that's still something you have under your belt.
Exactly. And that, it always transfers over. It always transfers over no matter what. You can take that to anywhere you go. Like, hey, I did this, it did this, and that caused this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that anywhere you go.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
talk about putting it on your resume. I just bring up a whole computer program and just there go the resume right there.
Yeah.
Like, what can you bring to the company? You see that? All me. My name's right there. You know?
I did that.
Right.
Exactly.
And man, look, that's how you really supposed to do it though. Like you really have to stand out, and that's literally what you did. You took what you had, see what they were doing, improved on it. Because they say, well, why should we hire you? There you go. I just showed you why you should hire me. I literally just increased productivity. I just increased our advertisement revenue. I just increased was it public know how or whatever, like when people start to understand who you are and different things of that nature.
Awareness.
A public awareness, my bad. There you go. A public awareness. Now they like, oh, I seen that company, but like now I see the company. Like those are true tangibles. I think that's important. As far as it's not. But see, that's just comes from the fact you were compassionate about it too. Like passion for what you do, and then like the company you work for. And I would also say that you should research the company.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, like mine is just a position, but you should definitely have research on that company.
Looking at reviews of a company can really change your opinion on it.
Yeah, like I mean, but even like, especially before you do the interview, like even a basic search, like just find out the bare basics. You know what I mean? So you know them off rip. Like that's important because they're gonna want to know. Like, and it's okay if you don't know everything, but they're gonna if you can't answer any question they ask you about the company, that's gonna invalidate you pretty quickly because they're gonna be like, oh well, this guy he obviously doesn't care enough to research the company at all before his interview. You know what I mean? So why would we hire him?
Yeah, he didn't put in the effort to do. Like we're not even we're not even in an office setting, but you didn't even put the effort in to learn a little bit about the company that you're applying for. Yet you want to build a career here. It's kind of like not productive as far as your career goes. So as far as jobs go, what okay, how so in your opinion, how long do you think you should be at a company before you decide that maybe this isn't where you want to be? Like, I know you can be like, maybe you have to wait 3 years to get a different position, but like I feel like to a certain degree you should be able to get a feel for like where you're at within a company to decide whether or not you're going to be able to be promoted and whether you should move on.
I say 3 years.
3 years,
maximum of 3 years. If you don't think you want to be at that company for the for a long duration, after 3 years at any job, you know what that job entails. You know what it's going to be. You know what your options are. You know what's available to you. And if you're not happy with it, then you should move on. Like, seriously, if you want to, right? Like if it's fine for you, then it's fine for you. Then keep doing it. But after 3 years, you know everything. It's like a relationship. Like after you're with somebody for 3 years, you know enough about them to know whether or not you're going to continue that relationship, right?
Fair.
Like, it's just like people that quit their job in under a year, like you didn't look at every avenue, right? 2 years, maybe 2 years, but 3 years is that sweet spot that I feel like you really know everything that you need to know, and you will know if you want to be there or not.
I feel you on that.
I understand.
I would say about a year and a half, personally. Depends though. Like it definitely depends. But I think about a year and a half. Like I feel like within a year, you should have enough experience to where you should be able to decide, like, yo, this is what I do. This is what normally happens in a day, and then you, of course, you're gonna have your day like anomaly days where it may either be really slow or really fast, but there's definitely going to be a base of like where it's going to be at most of the time. Um,
So wait, is this the maximum amount of time or like the minimum amount of time to know that you don't want to be there?
well, like it, I was going for minimum amount of time that you know you don't want to be there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like at 3 years, you definitely are like, okay, this how the company goes, this how management goes. You know what I'm saying? This how.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I was looking at the maximum standpoint. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, what's the maximum amount of time that you should be? You know, it would take. You know.
Oh yeah, I give you 3. I can see 3, but I would say at least like a year and a half to 2 years. You should be alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minimum, I would say like 6 months.
I also wouldn't recommend people quit a job under
6 months.
under a year. Yeah, I think that once you start a job, you should at least stay there for a year. Cause like if you stay there for a year, it looks better on your resume.
Yeah.
Cause if you, I mean, when you're young, it's different. Like you're not gonna put every job on your resume. Like I don't put Best Buy on my resume because I only worked there for like 6 months or something like that. But you know, it's good to be able to show that you can have consistent employment. And a year is a decent amount of time to show, okay, like he worked there for a year, he decided to leave, right?
Yep.
You know, like I feel like that's what you want to get because they're gonna see that. And if you've worked at multiple different jobs for a minimum of a year, okay, like it's not as though you couldn't keep that job. You chose to leave that job. You know what I mean? Like you chose to get a better opportunity. But if you leaving after 6 months, it's like, oh, well, you're just hopping from job to job. You know, like you could come in December and be gone by February for all we know. You know, so
Yeah.
that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's basically just endurance.
Hmm. Consistency. It demonstrates consistency.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I wouldn't suggest just how you quit. I think it's important as well. Because some people
look. Hey, if you don't give a fuck about the job and you're not gonna put it on your resume, do what you gotta do. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I hated almost every motherfucking manager at UPS. But when I quit, I put in my 2 weeks and I left in a dignified way. I wanted to curse motherfuckers out. But I didn't because I knew I was gonna put them on my resume because I had worked there for 3 years.
Facts.
So that shit was always gonna be on my resume. So it depends on how you want to leave it. Like if you don't give a fuck, you're not gonna use that shit for any references or nothing. Fuck all of them, man. Like if they treated you like shit, you only worked there for 6 months, man. Walk out of there, fucking like throw that shit on the ground, fucking curse out your manager, man. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But if you want to put that on your resume, then you gotta leave in a way that is gonna benefit you in the long run.
Yeah.
You can't give into that instant gratification.
Be like at McDonald's, make a whole video. I'm leaving on a microphone. I hate all of y'all.
Exactly.
But yeah, I just think that I also think the whole process of getting hired, like the interview process is something. It's like now, of course, because of like COVID, we doing like the online, the phone interviews, of course. I think that it's a lot of pressure in the interview process.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's not something that you can like just get over. Like the amount of confidence you would have to be able to go into an interview and not be like 3 seconds away from breaking out in sweats. Like it has to be astronomical.
It definitely is. It's nerve-wracking.
Especially when it's like a panel, it's like 5, 6, 7. What?
That's scary.
And that was for an interview. I mean, that was for an internship, bro. I was shook.
And yeah, just make what'd you say? What'd you say? Sit down and don't. What'd you say? Something about when you're doing an online interview, you ain't gotta dress from the waist
Yeah.
down. But
Face down, just
Hey, be
nice
comfortable in your
skirt.
own house, man. You know what you gonna put pants on for, man? They ain't gonna see them.
just make sure you don't get up. That's all that matters.
Hey, if you gotta get up, turn your camera off right quick. Say, "Excuse me," and I'll be right back. You know, obviously, usually you're not gonna leave during the middle of an interview, so like, like I don't think you usually have anything to worry about. Interviews don't usually run more than like 15 to 30 minutes.
Facts.
So, like, if you can't like sit down for 15 to 30 minutes, like, then you got bigger problems to worry about.
Like, you need a therapist or something. So, and then okay, so like, yeah, from your like in your journey, right? You got an internship, so your qualifications, and like you got the internship and you like communicated and was able to get through. But it's those that didn't go to an internship and get that opportunity. Like, and their qualifications they have it on their resume and different things of that nature, but it's not always gonna be groundbreaking as far as you being able to get a job, right? So like I just think like what do you guys think that okay, so you ever apply for a job and it's like, oh, you need a cover letter, you need the resume, you need like a bunch of other information. Like how do you think, like, do you think that having a cover letter and like a lot of the other information that they are asking for is important, or do you think it's just as long as you have maybe the work experience, you be able to get through the whole process?
So, I'm gonna say this, right? I think it's extremely important to have a relevant resume, an updated resume, and a well thought out cover letter, right? So what I did was I went through several revisions of both my resume and my cover letter to get it to a point that I felt as though it was in a good spot. And I didn't just read it, I sent it to my professor. I went through the career services at school. I sent it to a really good practice is to send it to people that maybe are over hiring that at different places. Like, you want as many people to get eyes on it as possible so that you can polish it so that when you send it out, it stands out, right? Because no matter how good you are at the job, unless you can demonstrate that to them immediately, the only thing that's speaking for you is your resume and cover letter. And, that's why I think it's really important to have those in a good spot. And, if you don't, you always have an opportunity to like just reach out to people. Everybody's going to want to look at it. But at the end of the day, you have to reach out to the people that have the best expertise on checking them over. And like, there's resume events. You can look that up like online, and you should be able to find plenty of different resume events happening all around you, or places you can send your resume to get looked over, and they'll help you go through it and fix it up and get it to a point that it's more than acceptable for any place that you want to send it to.
Fair points.
Yeah.
Well,
I did want to say one more. I did want to say one more thing. On as you were saying, like, for the people that didn't go through an internship and no longer feel like they no longer have that opportunity, or they don't think that it would serve them, or they can't take unpaid work for a long duration of time, I would say volunteer your services to organizations that you want to work for, right? So there are businesses, organizations, small companies, small businesses all over the place that need help, right? And if you will like the work that you do for them and you don't mind doing it, volunteer your services, and if they accept them, you'll be able to like that even counts as experience too. Like if you can continuously volunteer your services and they accept them and they're working for them and they enjoy them, not only can that potentially lead into a job, which I've seen happen to people, that gives you the experience of working with an actual company or corporation, and that allows you to, kind of weigh what you have against what other people don't, because people that are coming in and sending their resumes as a position opens up for a place that you've been volunteering for, you're going to have the leg up because they've seen your face.
Yep.
They've met you. They've seen your work firsthand. They know that you enjoy what you do. They know that you're going to do a good job, whether you're getting paid for it or not. So that's a really good way to get your foot in the door, because at the end of the day, that's all it's about. Like, I met that guy. I met the director of that company at a volunteer event, and he saw me doing my volunteer stuff, and we met, we spoke, and when I sent my resume in, he knew me by name, so that helped me a lot to get the job. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, because a lot of what I worked in with volunteerism for a while, and a lot of people look down on volunteerism, like, oh, I'm not working for free, fuck all of that shit. But at the end of the day, you got to look at it as an investment. You're investing your time to get something back, right? And even if you don't get anything back, you were still helping people, so it wasn't a no point. You know what I mean? Like, you still did something to better the world in a way, even if you didn't get the job, and you also got experience.
Fair. I'm glad you went into it, because I was actually about to talk about volunteering. I would say that you're more invested in yourself, like your own brand, because you are your own brand, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's a lot of people do look down on volunteering, but everything, like, because people volunteer to go help the animals, or they can volunteer to go help with accounting. Like, okay, well, we need somebody to just like move these papers over here. Like, I don't know what they do. I'm talking, but I do think volunteering is important, because it shows that you are willing to work without getting paid, and like that shows character. Like, you're doing free work, like that's fine, and you completed it, and you did it like 110%. You gave 110% free work, and you're not getting paid. Okay, there's potential there. There's definitely potential there. Because I know personally, I was actually looking into volunteering. See, my problem was just that I was always tired, so I was working, school. I was just focused on that, so I didn't really do as far as what I was supposed to do as far as my career goes. But now I'm like playing catch up, so like I'm trying to get my certificates. I'm trying to network. I'm trying to do everything that I should have been doing, but it's fine. We're getting there, right? I would just say that also, as far as networking is important. Networking is very important, because if you don't know anybody personally, like in your field, like a family member, so no nepotism, you have to be able to talk to somebody, or at least be able to put yourself in a position with somebody who can help you get to where you need to be. And you'd be surprised, like the accountant can totally help you get like a meeting with the CFO, because the accountant might have done what he's supposed to do, and now he could send an email and be like, oh, I have this individual who would be great for the company, different things of that nature, and then now you're eating lunch with the director or the CFO, or whatever their position is, and now you have a chance to sell yourself outside of like a piece of paper, like the online piece of paper, right? Theoretical resume, theoretical cover letter. Now you're there. So I would say networking. I would honestly say networking would be the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like just across the board. So definitely, putting yourself out there, but to be able to like go for an interview, they know your face. Okay, cool. Try sending them thank you like email, like, oh, I appreciate the time you gave me to had an interview, things of that nature, like going above and beyond, just like letting them know that you are interested and you're passionate about what you want to do. And another thing you mentioned how you went when you went to go talk to the director the third time, and you were talking to the receptionist.
Mm-hmm.
That right there can get you through the door, because the receptionist could have told you, "Oh no, he not here right now. He could be sitting in the back." You know what I'm saying? And you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm just here, talking to you, chopping it up." She low key, she could have helped you out, or like they could either help you out or they could mess you over, depending on how you approach them. So
yeah,
I would also say to treat everybody this like with respect. So even the janitor, right, the sanitation engineer, really, right? Whoever you meet, when you got to treat everybody with respect, just across the board. But especially when you go into like a company, you got to make sure you treating the janitor, the receptionist, like even if you see another intern, you know what I'm saying? You show that you a person, like you human, like you're here not just to do work, but you're here to like show that you passionate about what you do. You want to do this, right? I would just say to make sure that you respect everybody, right? So that I think that's very important.
No, just to add on to that real quick. Yeah, and a big reason to do that, as well as just being a decent human being, is that you have no idea where people are going to end up. You could end up working with somebody who was, at one point an intern that's now your boss somehow, right?
Yep.
You could end up working with a janitor that, you didn't know but had aspirations to be, more, and end up being your boss, right? Or you could end up working with, your boss right now who's, you're their boss later. You have no idea where you're going to end up or where people are going to end up. And you have no idea when you're going to see them again in their lives and in their journeys. So you have to make sure that you are as, a decent human being to people as you can be, because if you aren't, it can come back and bite you in the ass, or it can be a blessing. It just depends on how you treat other people.
Fair points. That is fair. Anything you want to say, Leo? Anything you want to add?
I mean, I'm still trying. I'm flying. I really get hope I get interview again, because the last time I did an interview with talking with somebody, it was a good interview. The guy was really interested in me. It's just I failed to do that assessment test where I just forgot basic math and some like just general language arts. Like, I mean, I'm just so used to everything being checked for me through like technology that I'm just like, yeah, that sounds about right. And autocorrect will just fix it for me.
Yeah, that double checking is something.
Yeah,
it's a dying art. I feel like we are the first. I'm going off on a tangent. We are the first generations of cyborgs, people. All right, our phones do half of our thinking for us. Our phones and computers do half of our thinking for us. They got autofill for your fucking sentences, my guy. Yeah. Oh, well, we already know you about to say this, so you might as well just press the space bar and we'll finish it for you. You know what I mean? Like, we're literally merging with our phones. We've already done it, actually. It's not happening anymore. Like, it is. I know exactly what you mean. Like, you just get so reliant on it because it's like when you were a kid and the teacher was like, you have to learn this math because they're never going to have a calculator on you at all times. And then you looking at 2020 like, bitch, I got a calculator. I got every answer I ever could need at my fingertips. I got you know what I mean? Like,
I have everything you told me crazy. I wouldn't.
Exactly. Like, I'm sure they had no idea it was going to happen, but it's just, it's an evolution of being a human being. And like, it's not even realistic to really hold people to that standard anymore, because in the real world, people aren't gonna just, unless you're like an editor, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You're not gonna be like making perfect drafts first time. I've seen directors, I've seen people in comms, I've seen a whole bunch of different things that people are not able to, on their first attempt, even with assistance from programs, to get things to a point that is perfect or it's ready for the world, right? And that's what editors are for. That's why you have people that specialize in that kind of stuff. So I don't even feel like that's a realistic thing to like not give somebody a job for, because at the end of the day, unless they're an editor, like it's gonna go through somebody else most of the time anyway.
That's fair. I I think that's fair. We all got phones in our pockets, G. That's why I like to throw off my algorithm by putting in different emojis and like different sentences that don't even make sense sometimes. My my phone
Emojis.
my phone be confused. It's like, you wanted to laugh, right? Nope, I want to cry. Wait, what?
Fuck going on?
Yeah,
This nigga crazy.
all the time. That's why I write out all my sentences too. Like, I realized, cause in college one of my professors was like, yeah, I became way dependent on my phone. Like, I tried to autocorrect and it just didn't autocorrect because we both didn't know how to spell it. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, nah,
That's
that's
the worst feeling.
Yeah.
you gonna
It's like
spell.
I can't spell, my phone can't spell. We both stupid.
I'm
Damn.
just like, dude, what the fuck you trying to say? And I'm just like,
What
I
are you
don't
trying
know.
to type out, bro? What is this?
Like, you have fingers I don't, and I'm very confused. That's why I be having, look, when I'm on social media, I'm not gonna lie. If you ever see me make a mistake and I don't edit it out or whatever, I'll Google words. Like, I'm like, oh, I want to say this, but I'm like, I don't think I know how to spell it. So I'll Google it and copy and paste it. I don't be playing no games.
On T. On T.
But yeah. Anything else? Anybody wants to anybody want to say?
I gave out my 2 cents.
I did want to say two last things, two last points.
Okay,
alright?
go for gold, my guy.
I want to say I think that the first one is I think it's super important to flesh out your LinkedIn.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that a lot of people, a lot of organizations, a lot of agencies look for people on LinkedIn. And it is basically your professional social media.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have one, you need to make one, and you need to update it as much as possible so that people can find you, and not only on normal social media, but also on a professional social media platform, so they can see the skills that you have. They can see what you've done. It's basically a digital resume that people can, you can get interviews off that alone, damn near sometimes.
Yeah.
You're still gonna need to send in a resume once you start the process and everything, but that helps, you know what I mean? And like some people nowadays, people will be like, oh, well, I don't have a card, but here's my LinkedIn. You know what I mean? Like they'll give you their LinkedIn information, and you can find out all about their professional life in a timeline. So I think that's super important. So if you don't have that, I think that you really should look into getting it and setting it up and getting it to a point that you enjoy. Second point would just be, you know, like side jobs. You know what I mean? Like, even if you are not going to be doing anything for a actual corporation or whatever you want to work for, I think that is really a good idea to, take whatever you can do and do it on the side as well. You know what I mean? Because that's a good way to expand your resume and to show people what you can do. An example, like, this is a bad example because this has nothing to do with anything. But if you know how to like work with electronics and you can like fix phones, like, and you want to get a job in like technology, being able to, find more people through fixing phones and, doing things of that nature, and then being able to tell them like, oh yeah, well, I did this and I did this with this phone and all of this. And they can see that, obviously that takes a decent amount of technical know-how. So that puts you in a better position to be able to get the job that you actually want. So like that's just one example, but it really can go for anything. Just using your abilities to your best capacity,
Yeah.
and expanding out as much as you can.
Oh, I like that one. Side hustles, because then not only does it increase your like resume, but it also keeps you polished on your like abilities. Keeps you polished.
Mhm.
I just want to say as a last thing that I think you should be well rounded. So yeah,
Mm.
you may want to go into accountant. You know how to do math, but I also think you should know a little bit about science, right? Um,
Mm.
you may not be a mechanic, but you should be able to change a tire. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know they like,
Yeah.
so yeah, of course you want to have your specified field, but I do think you should have knowledge about, even if you don't, not the professional, you should still be able to like blend in, like if you're having a conversation with somebody, you should be able to have like enough knowledge to be able to like, have a conversation with somebody and be able to be engaged. Right. So
Yeah.
that's just what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? Any shameless plugs? Anybody got any? Nah, we
Uh,
good.
Uh,
uh,
catch me on YouTube, Big Cat Man. Check out my mixtape, Mind of a Madman. All of that good stuff. If you want to, go for it.
All right, Henshin a go go, and we out.